All right, welcome in a Saturday as we take a look at some of the big stories today here on the Sportscasters Club YouTube program. Make sure to subscribe so you see all of our episodes. Today, we're going to touch on a few things. First, obviously, we're wondering if there are going to be any upsets today in the NCAA tournament. The first day, Thursday, few upsets. Siena almost pulled the big upset on Duke. Then on Friday, pretty boring night, actually. No big upsets Friday night. Earlier in the day, Kentucky with that big victory, but no big updates Friday night. So we're going to see if Saturday brings anything different. But today we're going to touch on this is a record, a baseball record that is very close to being shattered. I don't mean it's going to happen today, tomorrow, but I mean this record could be shattered. And I think it's a lot more in view than most baseball fans realize. So we're going to touch on that today. Also, our sportscasting tip of the day featuring Coach Martelli, which you may have seen that. And we're going to touch on the fact that spring training statistics, we talked yesterday about team statistics and how they usually don't matter at all. But today we're going to start by talking about statistics in terms of individual players. I saw this yesterday. This was a post by Dan Clark on X, and this is what the post said. He was talking about Mark Vientos, and he said he had a disgraceful month. He said a difficult month, yes, very difficult. 1 for 31, just one RBI. And obviously he didn't have a strong WBC either, just 2 for 15. And we talked at length over the past couple days about how statistics for the team in spring training mean nothing. There's not a strong correlation between what a team does in spring training and what they do in the regular season. So how about players? Well, my point of view is spring training statistics usually mean very little. Now, who knows what Mark Vientos' role is going to be with the Mets? My prediction is that he has a solid season. And perhaps not getting everyday playing time at the corners. You've got Bichette, you've got Polanco, but the DH spot also. So my prediction is that Vientos has a solid season. He's making contact. I don't believe in exit velocity and any of that stuff, but certainly the Mets think that everything he's doing is setting himself up to have a strong season. They believe his exit velocity is there, and they think he's going to have a solid year. I just don't think spring training stats mean much. So I was looking at this, and this kind of fit in with what we were going to talk about. And then it brought me to this. So I'm looking at Matt Olson's stats. And Matt Olson, if you recall, back in 2023 for the Braves, he had a putrid spring training. He hit 108, 16 strikeouts and 37 at-bats. He was terrible in the spring. But then in the regular season, he hit 283. Not only that, he led Major League Baseball, 54 home runs, had 139 RBIs, a dramatic turnaround, a fantastic season. He led Major League Baseball in home runs and RBIs. He had a great year, a great year. But you wouldn't have known it if you judged him by his spring training statistics because he hit just 108. So if that's the case, Mark Vientos should be thinking, who knows, maybe I'm going to hit 50 home runs. Maybe I'm going to knock in over 100. The point that I make and that I've made is that it just doesn't mean anything. Spring training is spring training. And sometimes a guy can have solid numbers in the spring, but the coaching staff, the manager, they know there's something up and some things aren't right if a player isn't working on what they need to and improving on what they need to. So I wanted to start there, but let's get to the big story today. The big story, the reason you clicked on the thumbnail, is about this record that could be shattered. It could be shattered. It could be broken. Here's what I'm talking about. Matt Olson's consecutive game streak. Many baseball fans aren't aware of this, but he has played in 782 consecutive games. That already is 12th all time. 12th all time. His streak began in 2021. It's the longest active streak by a wide margin. This year, before the end of the season, assuming he plays every game, which is a big assumption, but he will already be the Braves' leader in consecutive games played. And some people don't think that's an important stat. I do, because it shows durability. It shows value. It shows that your manager feels every day you're the best choice to be out there in the lineup. And Matt Olson, obviously, we talked about some of his stats. He's had a solid major league career. And by the end of this year, he might be the Braves' all-time leader in consecutive games. So where would that put him? What's this record I'm talking about that he could break? Here we go. Olson right now is 12th all-time. And you can see him on the right there in the orange, right behind Nellie Fox. Nellie Fox, 778. And then you move up the list. You've got Eddie Yost, Stan Musial, Miguel Tejada. If Matt Olson plays every game this season, he will be 8th all time with 944 consecutive games. 8th all time at the end of this season. That, to me, is flabbergasting. He's 31 years old today. Today, he's 31 years old. And he already could be 8th all time in consecutive games played. I was shocked by that. I think a lot of baseball fans are shocked when they hear this statistic. Now, a lot can happen. He can go out there, slip on a banana peel tomorrow and miss a game or miss a week or pull a hamstring. Who knows? So many things can happen. But this is something that should be on the radar, because this is a big, in my opinion, it's an important, meaningful statistic. All right, so he could be 8th all time at the end of this season. Will he surpass Cal Ripken? I mentioned he's 31 now. He turns 32 this week. So he'll be 32 years old. And I did the math. Let's see if my math is correct. I hope it is. But by my math, that means Matt Olson would eclipse Cal Ripken Jr. with 11.42 more seasons of playing every game. That would mean he'd be 42 years old. Check my math. He'd be 42 years old, and game 2633 would be the 69th game of the season in 2037. 2037, which sounds to me like it's so far away, and it is. 11 more seasons of playing every single game. I think it puts in perspective what Cal Ripken Jr. did. But to me, this says, you know what? He's a lot closer than people think. And especially when you look at the contemporary guys in this list, Miguel Tejada, we all remember, he finished 5th all time. 1,152 games. It's hard to see there. 1,152. And I like this graph because it shows that even the third, Everett Scott, finished just over 1,300 straight games. He still is only about half of Cal Ripken. So the third place record holder, Everett Scott, consecutive games played, 1,367. I know it's tough to see. And Cal Ripken doubled it. So from the first to the third, a doubling. Pretty fantastic. Pretty fantastic. You can check my stats, check my numbers too. But I think Matt Olson is setting himself up to be in a great position. But But again, keep this in mind in terms of what we were talking about. He had that spring training a few years ago where he hit 100. And there were Brave fans saying, he's done. The guy's a loser. He's not going to have a strong year. We need to find someone else. We should have signed Freddie Freeman. And Olsen obviously has had a solid career. So just want you to know that. Okay, sportscasting tip of the day. Coach Phil Martelli. This is interesting. This is great. You may have seen this. You may have seen this week, a couple days ago, after the big victory in the first round. VCU upset North Carolina. And Coach Martelli was on the post-game show. And it was really outstanding because he was asked a question by the student broadcasters that traveled to the game from VCU. And they asked him a question, and here's how he answered it. And I think all young sportscasters should take note.
Last question right here.
Ben Rikosh, WVCW Sports. Coach, walk us through the last.
Hold on, I am going to shout you guys out. Watch, I know there's a lot of professional media here. Our student media, the best in the country. They are unreal. Unreal. 3 of these guys drove in a snowstorm. I'm not sure why they did it, but to Davidson, to cover Davidson, they came out to St. Louis. They've been everywhere along the way. They did miss a game for one of them did miss, 2 of them missed a game for Valentine's Day, but we won't talk about that. I understand young love is young love, but this crew right here, like I told them in Pittsburgh and I tell them again, cannot thank you guys enough. You are what this is about right there. And watch, I said it in Pittsburgh. The rest of these are getting paid. Not enough. They don't get paid enough, but they are getting paid to be here. They're not paid to be here, and they show up every single day, every single game, and I can't thank you guys. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I appreciate that. Those words truly mean a lot. Walk us through the
Last question right here.
So I thought that would be very interesting, and you would enjoy seeing that because we all know that there are so many young broadcasters across the country that give their heart and soul to it, that really put everything they have into it, and they don't get recognized. And in many times they care more and they put more effort into it, even than professionals who are getting paid. And we've talked a lot here at Sportscasters Club. Make sure you subscribe, by the way, but we've talked a lot about some of the dues you have to pay early in your career. I've talked publicly about the fact that I drove myself to games when I first started broadcasting 30 years ago. I slept on the floor in hotels. I drove all night. I worked all night so I could broadcast during the day. All these different things. And a lot of young up-and-coming college students do the same thing. I can recall foregoing New Year's Eve parties because I wanted to host a radio program at WFUV at Fordham University for 3 hours on a Saturday night. Meanwhile, all my friends were out partying for New Year's Eve. I got my butt down to the Bronx to broadcast a radio program. And those are some of the dues that you pay. And I really appreciated Coach Martelli highlighting some of the students that have had such a great work ethic for them throughout the basketball season. And they deserved it. And it was really nice that he brought them up. A class act. Coach Martelli, his father was coaching back when I was broadcasting during my college days, a long time ago. So it's nice how it comes full circle. It's really nice how it comes full circle. And that was a great thing to think about today as we get ready for the 3rd day of the NCAA tournament. Today we talked about, do spring training stats matter? No, in my opinion, both from a team standpoint and from a personal standpoint, no. We talked about Matt Olsen shattering this record, which even if he's the all-time leader for the Atlanta Braves franchise, in and of itself would be fantastic. And he can do that this year. He can be the all-time leader for the Atlanta Braves in consecutive games played by the end of the season. If he played every game this year, he would also be 8th all time. And so Matt Olson, that would put him in rare air. And then if he plays another 11.42 seasons, then in the year 2037, I'll walk out here with my cane and we can watch him shatter Cal Ripken Jr.'s record. We'll see what happens. But that's today's program. Thanks for joining us here at Sportscasters Club. My name is Rick. Make sure to subscribe because we have a lot of fun here. Make sure you're with us. Share this with your friends and family if they're sports fans. And what we try to do here at Sportscasters Club is we try to be the place where you can be a better sportscaster and a better sports fan. So thanks for joining us today. Let's see what happens on the basketball court, and we'll catch you next time. Take care.